Hi guys, I hope you all are doing good. So in this session, we'll be starting on with the computer networks chapter. So in this computer networks chapter, it consists of 13 to 14 marks. And coming to the syllabus, we'll just go through an overview of syllabus because talking about each and every topic is actually time waste and you people may feel bored. So I'll just tell the, the main topics. Like we have the concepts of layering, and then the data link layer, routing protocols, fragmentation and IP address, and then we have the transport layer, and then the application layer, and etc. So in depth we'll be reading about all these topics. And if you ask me what textbooks can I follow, then I would suggest going with, if you are really particular into reading the textbooks, then you can go with Forzen, Tattenbaum and Cross. These are the standard textbooks that we'll be getting. And if you don't want with the textbooks and you don't, you want something which is deeper and clean to read, then you can go to Google and you can type ARP-RFC, which actually gives you the content which is much deeper in CN, and if you read it completely, then you don't need to actually prefer to something else. But yes, I can assure you this thing, that even if you don't read all the standard textbooks and all this other references, if you just follow my series and if you make the notes of it, and whatever I say, if you listen and you follow those, then that is more than enough, because whatever content I am doing is completely from the experts. So I think you people have heard about RBR sir, Ravindra Babu Rawala sir. So you might know, if I don't know if many of them knows him or not, but yeah, he is very expert in this subject and he has a lot of knowledge. So I was a student of his class and I have made notes from his class when I was preparing for my GATE. And yes, that's what actually I am here explaining. So completely whatever the notes that I will be, teaching from, so most probably you will be getting from that itself, because as I've already mentioned, the notes that I have made is from his class. And yes, even if you see in market, most of the people who are actually now teaching the computer networks and the other subjects prefer sir's notes. So yes, with this I can completely assure you that whatever you follow with my videos, and if you go through those and you are strong with those, then that is more than enough. You don't need to actually prefer to any standard textbooks and all. At the same time, if you feel okay, theory part you can follow me, then what about the the problems? Then yes, let me say you this, that I will also be doing problems, and that is not just some 2-3 problems. I'll be doing many and many problems, so that you don't need to refer any textbooks, nothing. You can just go through my videos, and that will be more than enough. And yes guys, if you really follow my channel, then you'll be having a lot of scope to be getting high marks in your GATE exam. And don't forget, I'll be teaching everything from basics. From my introduction video that I have been released in this channel, I have been always telling this, that whatever I explain will be from complete basics. So even people who doesn't know this, the subject, can follow my videos and can learn things easily in a very simple and easy format. So let's begin with the video. So guys, in computer networks, we call computers as host. Remember these technical terms, because as we go deeper and deeper, we'll be using technical terms itself. That time again, I'll not be mentioning what is what. So I hope you people note it down somewhere, or you people remember it, that host here defines computers. Okay. And the processors that I'll be, commonly using the term is nothing but the browser. Now, what is processor in the sense? It is a program that is to be executed. So that is the processor. Okay, so in this host we'll be having a lot of processors. It's not one or two, but we'll be having a lot of processors. Like, you just take an example. If you are a developer, okay, and you have some codes, okay, and in that system, will you write only one code? No, you will write many codes and you will execute many codes, right? Similarly, in a computer, you will have many codes to execute. So that is what in a host, you will have many processors. I hope this point is clear. Okay. Now, let me say we typed www.google.com. Okay. So whatever the URLs that we have, right, those are known as domain name. Okay. Those are known as domain name. Okay. So why I have written it like this? Because now this is something that you and me can understand. But is it something that the computer can understand or the system can understand? No, right? It does not understand all these things. So to make system understand what we are, giving the command, we will be using a process. So that process I'll be explaining in detail. So for now, I want you people to remember host is nothing but the computer. Processor is nothing but the browser, and domain name is nothing but some URL. Okay, so it can be www.google.com or anything. Okay, this is just an example that I have been used. Okay, now if remember this point. Sometimes software is called as server. Okay. And also system is called as server. So here I have told computer as host, right? So in many, videos, if you have seen before, or many ways or many papers or books, you might have seen system to be denoted as server. Okay. Computer also can be denoted as server. This is also true. This is also true. So don't get confused with this. Both are true itself. Okay. Now, so as I've already mentioned, computers does not understand domain name, right? So we need to have something called as domain name servers. Okay, we need to have something called domain name servers, which is known as DNS. Okay, so in short form, in somewhere at certain places, I might be using DN, which means domain name, and DNS, which means domain name service. DN as domain name and DNS as domain name servers. Okay, so don't get confused. Just remember these terms so that further, things will be clear. I once again repeat, computers as host, browsers as processor, and then domain name, that is DN. DNS is domain name servers. Okay. Now, how the process takes place. So we have something called as IP address. So this IP address, in deep I'll explain what IP address is. But before diving into it, first we'll understand the process. So what happens? The processor asks the IP address of Google. Okay. To whom? To DNS. Okay. Then DNS, what it does? It responds with some IP address to the server. So it's something like this. So if you can see the image, okay, just you can, watch till this image, this part. So here we have the system. Okay. So the system, in the system, we have the domain name. See, again, I'm mentioning we have domain name. Okay. Now the system, if you have this domain name, the computer will not understand what you want, right? The server will not understand what you want. So we will be using something called domain name system. Okay. Which will convert this domain name into some IP address, meaning some numbers, and it will give back to the system. Okay. Now how this DNS will convert in the sense, we have something called ISP. Okay. We have something called ISP. So what this ISP is, It is the internet service provider. It is the internet service provider. So this will provide DNS with the IP address, and that IP address is then sent to the system. It acts as an intermediator, but directly we can say that ISP will provide the IP address to the system. Okay. To ISP who is providing, in the sense, IANA, which means Internet Assigned Number Authority. Internet Assigned Number Authority. Okay. So you can just assume it like, this is the senior. He will give things to ISP. ISP then gives things to DNS. DNS then gives things to system. Okay. But I want here you people to remember one thing, that who is providing IP address to the system, in the sense ISP. Okay. To ISP who is providing IANA. That is the Internet Assigned Number Authority. Internet Service Provider. So just remember this flow that I have actually mentioned here. Okay. So we have INA that gives to ISP. ISP gives to the host. Okay. Now, once the system gets the IP address, it goes to the Google server. Now, this is the system where you are giving the domain name, and that is being converted into IP address and everything. Okay. But if, for example, now I want to give this domain name. Okay. So to give this domain name, I have to send it to the server where it is present. So where the Google server is present, there itself I need to send it. And that's how things go. So first the system will collect the IP address. Then when the system, gets the IP address, here we'll be having an host, right? That host, or we'll be having a number of processors. In system, what will we have? We will have processor. So this processor will send this IP address to the server. This processor will send the IP address to the server. Okay. Remember this flow. Okay. Now, if you ask me what question may come from the part that we have discussed now, then the question they may ask will be, who provides IP address to the host? So system is nothing but host. So who is providing IP address to the host? Directly the ISP is providing. Okay. So Internet Service Provider will be providing the IP address to the host. The next one is, who provides IP address to ISP? So ISP, okay. Now it's very nice. You're telling me ISP will provide, the IP address to the system. But to ISP, who is providing, brother? If you ask, then it's senior it's providing. Who is it senior? IANA. That is the Internet Assigned Number Authority. So to ISP, its senior provides the IP address. And similarly, here for the question, the answer is IANA. So guys, always remember, in the top list, our senior is IANA. Okay. We are ISP. Okay. Our junior is DNS. Okay. And to us, the IP address will be provided by our senior, who is IANA. And we will provide the IP address to the system through DNS. But here, who is providing? I am itself providing, right? So I will be the provider for host. And to me, who will be the provider? IANA. So remember these two questions. Okay. Next is, how to convert domain name to IP address. Okay. Now see here. This is the domain name. Who is converting it into IP address? DNS is converting it into IP address. Now, if you ask why DNS is there, why it is, why your junior is there, if you ask me, then I will say my junior is there to collect the domain name and give to me, so that I will know what IP address it is asking me for. So for that reason, DNS is used. Okay. So I hope this flow is clear. To me, IP address, so what is me? ISP. So to me, the IP address is given by my senior, that is IANA. Okay. And I will be giving the IP address to the host. Now, who will tell me the domain name? DNS. My junior will tell me the domain name. So remember this flow. Okay. Now, who provides DNS to the host? ISP itself. So what ISP does? It will provide the IP address. At the same time, it provides the DNS. Okay. It will provide the IP address at the same time for domain name system. Also, it will be providing. So always remember this also. ISP. If you will get ISP in your mind, then you have to remember it provides for two persons. Okay. One is the IP address and the other one is the DNS. Okay. So guys, next we have something called DNS cache. Okay. Now this DNS cache is very simple. It's just a table that contains some information. Okay. Now what information if it contains, if you ask me, then it contains the domain name, it contains its IP address, and it contains its expiry time. Okay. So this expiry time is actually, temporary. Okay. This expiry time is temporary. So you can say it to be a configurable. So what do you mean by configurable? Meaning that, for certain amount of time you can you can add some time here. And once the time has been crossed, then the domain name and the IP address, everything here, whatever you have, the content in that particular row will be changed. Okay. So that's what happens in this table. So if just remember, DNS cache is nothing but it's a table which contains of some information, and that information is, it contains 3 columns with a domain name, IP address, expiry time. This expiry time is temporary and configurable. Okay. So remember this. Okay. This much you remember initially, then we'll go deeper and then we'll understand what it is. Okay. Next we have something called DNS overhead. Okay. Now what do you mean by DNS overhead is nothing but whenever a host needs IP address, of a server, it will go to the DNS server, and this complete process is called as DNS overhead. Okay. Now to reduce this DNS overhead, we use DNS cache. Okay. Now what is DNS overhead? I'll explain through this diagram. So it's what DNS overhead is nothing but, see, if you want an IP address of an if you want an IP address for a server, okay, then what it will do, it will go to the DNS, okay, and then it will come back to the server, right? So this process, whatever is taking place, is called as DNS overhead. Now why to reduce this DNS overhead, I said we'll be using DNS cache. Now if you have this doubt, why do you need DNS cache? Like, why do you want? In the sense, every time you give a domain name, it will go to the DNS and then come back, again go to the DNS, again come back. So how many times you will be logging into that server, that many times from the system, the domain name goes to the DNS and then comes back again. So this process will be taking place. Okay. So that time what happens? Now since again and again you're opening and again this process takes place, it will, make some delay. Okay. Your time will be wasted. It will make some delay. And henceforth we'll be using this DNS cache. Okay. Henceforth we'll be using this DNS cache. Now, why DNS cache in the sense? Here you will give some expiry time. So you can give it for 1 hour, you can give it for 2 hours, you can give it for 30 minutes. Also, you can give it for 1 minute. Okay. That time what happens? Until that amount of time, you can be using that IP address. So you don't need to again go to the DNS, again come back, again go and all. Once the time is done, the complete data will be erased. Okay. Again you have to add the new data. So from this, what happens is the delay, whatever happens for that process, will be reduced. And that's when, or that's why DNS cache is being used, or it's been required. Okay. Next we have is port number. Next we have is port number. Okay. So port number is a very well-known thing. Okay. So what happens from this port number is, through port number, we identify processor from the server, because in a server or host, we have many processors. Okay. Now I'll explain this complete part. But before that, we'll just go with this. I'll come back to this, don't worry. So yeah, how do a process reach the other process in internet? Okay, so we have something called network, we have something called host, we have something called process. Okay, so for network we have an ID, for host we have an ID. Okay, for process we have a port number. Okay, now IP address contains two parts. What I repeat, IP address contains two parts. One is the network ID and the other one is the host ID. One is the network ID and the other one is the host ID. Okay, now I'll tell, here I have a system, here I have a system. Okay. So here we have one system, and here we have the other system. Now this is a server, this is a server, right? So from this, to reach the correct network, we will have an ID. Okay, so that from here it will reach correct network. Okay, now this is a host, this is a host. So to reach to the correct host, we have host ID. Okay, in this we have many processors, right? We have many processors. Now to reach the correct process, we have port ID. To reach the correct process, we have the port ID. So I hope this is clear. So like you can just assume you have this Google somewhere in US, right? And you are somewhere in India, right? So in Google, you just doesn't have www.google.com. You have many other ways, right? Meaning in that server, you have many processors. Now, the domain name that you have given is google.com, right? Now, to check whether it has reached the correct network, that is the Google server's network itself, you have the ID. To check whether you have reached the correct host, you have host ID. And to check that whatever domain name you have given, it has reached to the correct, processor. So the IP address matches to the correct processor, we have port ID. Okay. So I now assume, or now I will take it a confirmation from my side that you people have understood what network ID is, host ID is, and port ID is, right? So port IDs we have, for HTTP we have 810, file transfer protocol we have 21, SMTP we have 25. So these numbers, by the end of the complete computer networks, you will remember these. No need to worry, these are just the examples that I have mentioned here. Okay, and guys, previously I've talked about this part, and yes, remember that IP address is not permanent, it keeps on changing, and that's the reason we have something called expiry in that DNS cache. Okay, which is configurable, meaning once time is up, it again goes to DNS, and again that complete process, that is the DNS overhead process, takes place. Only to avoid or save some amount of time, we'll be using it. Okay, so I hope this part, whatever I have explained till now, is clear. So guys, so whatever I've taught till now is actually the basics of the computer networks. And from the next session, that is from the next video, we'll be starting with the number system, where we'll be learning about the binary, decimal, and then IP address, how it is, what format it is, how do we write it, and etc. So it's quite interesting, and yes, the video will be for sure very interesting and useful. At the same time, you'll be getting questions from those topics which are important. So don't miss out those lectures. Be consistent and start from basics so that you people will understand some technical terms, like I have already started with, like host, the processors, the servers, who is called as server, DNS, DN, and all such things. So maybe you may feel a little bored with this, but with the coming sessions will not be feeling any bored, because it's completely with playing with the numbers type, you can think. So it's not boring at all from the next lectures. And maximum I'll try to make things simple and easy, so that you people will not be feeling it difficult. And yes, if you find it useful, please like, share, and subscribe our channel. And I want you people to even comment your views and all, so that whatever things are needed to be improved from our sides, we'll be taking care of it, and we'll try maximum to improve. And thank you for watching, guys. Please wait for our next series, and please keep supporting our videos. Thank you.